Update. My own friend convinced my husband that I cheated on him. He kicked me out of our house, and now she finally said she lied. Original post. I, 25 female, don't even know where to start because I'm devastated. She, 25 female, and I were best friends for over 10 years before all this happened. She was my sister, my friend, the person I trusted the most. But to her, I was never anything. Because if I had meant something to her, she wouldn't have stabbed me in the back just because I married a man she wanted. And this is important because she did all this for that very reason. 8 years ago, we met my husband, 29 male, at college. We were in our first year, and he was the assistant of one of our professors. The three of us became very good friends until he and I started dating. At that time, she never told me that she had feelings for him, so I never questioned my relationship with him. During all these years, I trusted her with very important things about my husband and myself. The last thing was the most important thing that I ever told her, and that was that I'm pregnant. I even told her before I told my husband, because I took the pregnancy test while I was with her because I trusted her with my whole life. And when the test came back positive, we both cried because it was a planned baby. She seemed so happy that my chest hurts knowing that all of that was fake. 6 months have passed since that day and my husband started acting weird. He was always mad at me for absolutely no reason, until I had enough and confronted him. He told me he's mad at me because he knows the truth. I asked him what he was talking about, and he showed me all the infidelity evidence he has. They were chats from a dating app between a man and me, and I use quotes because I never created that account. Someone else did and used my photos that I never posted and that I only have on my phone. So it is impossible that someone has stolen them from my social media. In those chats, I told this man that I was pregnant and that I didn't know if it was his or my husband's. In those chats, I even talked to that man about recent intimate encounters while I was pregnant, and things like that no husband or wife wants to read about their partner. I told my husband that everything was fake, and that I wanted to know where he got those screenshots. And he told me that they are screenshots of my old phone, a phone that I supposedly used to talk to other men. He told me that my best friend told him everything because she couldn't look him in the eye knowing the truth. Apparently, she knew about my infidelities and told him to look for evidence in my old phone, and he did. And that's why he was acting weird the last few weeks. Of course, I told him that my friend is lying, and that she probably used my phone without me knowing to do that. That I never created any account and that I never slept with another man other than him in my whole life. But he didn't believe me. We had a fight, and we called her to confront her. But all she said was that she was sorry, but that she no longer wanted to keep lying to one friend to save the other's butt. We had a horrible fight, but she was calm as a freaking psycho, insisting that I'm a cheater. And I couldn't convince my husband that it's all a lie because the evidence indicates that I'm guilty. So he was furious and told me to pack my stuff and get out, and that he wanted a divorce and a paternity test. I went to my mother's house and we did a paternity test, which obviously indicates that the baby's his. But still, he didn't believe me that I didn't cheat on him. We had a few more fights after we did a paternity test, and I ended up in the hospital because of the stress. And apparently that made my so-called friend see reason, because she told my husband that everything he saw was fake, and that it was she who made both accounts, mine and that of the man I was supposedly cheating on him with. She said that she did it because she was jealous because since I'm pregnant, he doesn't pay attention to her anymore. She is very good friends with both of us since we met him, and that she lost her mind and acted in the worst way possible. She also said that now she's really sorry, that she never thought all this would go this far, and that she thought he'd just get mad for a few days and then forgive me because she knew that he loves me too much to forgive me anything. Since she confessed all that, he apologized in 1,000 ways, and we've talked a lot about what happened. And we have decided to give ourselves the space we need, and we will start going to therapy, but I don't know if that will be enough. Our relationship is at its worst. It's screwed up, and I'm afraid we can't work this out. And how could we? We said and did horrible things. During a fight, he told me to pack my stuff. I refused, and he took me by the arm to do it. And he was hurting me, so I pushed him and he hit a piece of furniture. And that's when he took me by the arms again. But this time he did it to shake me. But he is much stronger than me. Not only am I skinny compared to him, but he is also really tall. And when he did that, he really hurt me. And I don't know if we can be who we were in the past again. In the past, we almost never fought, and if we did, there was never any violence involved. How can we fix this, other than therapy? Now for the top advice. What a freaking psycho! This is a lot. The damage she inflicted over petty jealousy. How do you do something so deplorable to a person, let alone your best friends? People you claim to love, all while putting your friend's health and the health of her unborn child at risk. Just wow. This subthread never really shocks me, but this shocked me to the core. The evidence was so compelling from the husband's perspective, which makes it so sad. OP, if you're reading this, I hope both you and your husband give therapy a real shot. Don't let that witch win by jumping to divorce. It's so sad because it sounds like you had a healthy marriage before. I just hope that this is another hurdle you overcome and one that brings you closer in the end. And what about your husband and the ex-friend? Has he cut her out? And did she attempt anything with him while you were kicked out? Because if he's still talking to her in any capacity, that would be done for me. Yes, he blocked her from everywhere, and as far as I know, she never tried anything with him. Jesus, your friend is a psychopath. She didn't think it would go that far. The truth is, she wasn't ever that good a friend to either of you. Because if she was, she would have accepted that he is with you and moved on. Given the circumstances, I would think therapy is a must. I can't see how else you two would ever come back from this without a neutral party involved. And now for the update. Thank you all for the messages you sent me and the comments you left on my first post. I really appreciated it. Things have gotten a lot better since then. We talked to my now ex-friend, and she admitted to using my old phone to create that fake profile and also to message the other man. But I used quotes because that man never existed. It was her. She used that phone when she came to my house every day since we had a business together. She knew where the phone was, and she also knew that no one ever used it, so she had everything perfectly planned out, which is scary, because she really needs help. I mean, with all this, it is more than clear that she's a psychopath and needs help. She said all the things she did, and she had even told my husband that she drove me to meet that man so many times. And she told him that I made her pay with her card for the hotel where I met that man. And the truth is that I was never in any of those hotels. But all of that was right there, and it looked real, so of course he believed her. She has been my friend for many years, but she has also been friends with him for over 8 years. So we trusted her, and we never thought she would do something like that. And when she started telling me all those lies, it sounded real. In fact, the messages and everything looked very real. And I understand why my husband believed it. And if it had been the other way around, maybe he would have believed it too. On the other hand, my husband and I are still trying to cope with all this. After that violent episode, things got really hard between us. It is not easy to save a marriage once violence is involved, but we're trying. I came back home, and for now things are fine. But sometimes it's really warm here and I wear t-shirts, and he doesn't even want to look at me because I still have the bruises from his hands on my arms. And they don't look too bad now, but they're still there after almost 2 months of that episode. And I'm guessing they'll take a while to go away since I'm a very pale person and my skin is very sensitive. But my arms don't hurt anymore or anything like that, so I don't mind the bruises. He has apologized for what he did, and I forgave him because it was something that affected us both. And I understand that we both got violent and we're both guilty for screwing up our relationship. But like I said, we're still trying to get over it. And I guess it will take a while to get over it. It won't be easy, but we are willing to work hard so that everything will get better by the time our baby arrives in a few weeks. That's why we started individual and couples therapy, so we hope everything gets better. Now, we are focused on that. We're preparing her room and buying things for her. And for now, that's working. Our relationship is slowly getting back to how it was before. And I'm really happy about that because we've loved each other for 8 years. And the last thing I wanted was to throw away our relationship after all that time. Because I know how our relationship was, and I know that this was the first time that we both reacted like this. And we promised each other that it will never happen again, and we will do everything possible so that it does not happen again. So that's all. To put your relationship to the side, if you're still covered in bruises after almost 2 months, You really need to go see a doctor. That slow healing could be indicative of some larger health problem. If you're having some issues with, say, blood clotting, you want to have the doctors figure that out now, instead of while you were giving birth. Usually bruises clear up in a matter of 1 to 2 weeks. If you're still black and blue after around 8 weeks, that is something your doctor needs to know about ASAP. It doesn't really matter that you're pale. It also doesn't matter however embarrassed you might be when the doctors ask you what happened, and you have to confess your husband hurting you. What matters there is your body isn't able to adequately clear the hematoma after an excessive amount of time. That's important medical information right there. Take it to your doctor as soon as you possibly can. Because despite all the miracles of modern medicine, plenty of people still bleed out and die during childbirth. If your body isn't handling bleeding in a normal fashion, including bruises, that is very important for your doctors to be on top of. Talk to a lawyer. She can be held accountable for a lot of that, and you can get a little bit of justice out of it for her screwing your life up. Not sure if this applies where you live, but in many places this is harassment and defamation. I would even wonder about financial damages / effect of the distribution of business assets. Glad you're doing all the therapy. I hope you dissolve the business partnership too. I will. I'm talking to my lawyer about it. Now for the last story. Update. My 28 female boyfriend, 30 male, keeps hanging out with a girl he has feelings for. Original post. He said he's been trying to get over her since before me, and that he thinks that if he keeps trying, it'll go away. I told him it doesn't work like that, especially if we've already been dating 10 years, and he was already trying to drop his feelings for her before he met me. I feel like he's lying, and he truly just wants to keep his connection to her. He left to go hang out with her at 9 and it's now almost 4 in the morning for me. He told me it wouldn't come to this, and he wouldn't be out this long. He doesn't have a phone, so if I want to message him, I basically have to message her. He also refused to let me come along, even though her and I get along amazingly. She's made it clear she's not interested and already has a girlfriend. I've started packing my things because he hypothetically asked me what would happen if he didn't come home tonight, before he went out. I don't feel that there's anything left for me here. I made it clear that I don't think what he's doing is good for our relationship, but he went anyway. All he can ever say is that it's not his intention to hurt me. I keep having to remind him that the intent doesn't matter if he knew the outcome would be hurting me. I need some help, support, and an exit plan. Now for the top advice before reading the update. He still thinks he has a chance with her, but is stringing you along as a backup. If the second she actually wants to go out with him, he will flat out dump you on the spot. You're better leaving because this isn't a healthy relationship. This is exactly what I've been thinking about. It's all based on her. If she moves, he will, regardless of what we've built together. Yes, you have no future with him because he doesn't want you. Sorry to say. Until he can get his head out of his behind and realize she doesn't want him, he can't have healthy relationships. I mentioned that to him as well, that this will continuously be a cycle unless he chooses to break it himself. All he cares about is staying close to her, even if it means they can only be friends. Well, back to packing. I really wish you well. In this instance, it was all on him. He ruined the relationship, not you. You deserve better and I hope you find it. Maybe someday. Thank you. And now for the update. I went to sleep and woke up to him cuddling me, which was very upsetting, especially after the night I've had. He came home around 5 a.m., a time he told me was only hypothetical and wouldn't really happen. We had a talk where I made it very clear that if this is how he loves me, then it's not the love I want anymore. He didn't want to tell me anything at all and just kept saying, I don't know, to every question I asked him. But if the situation were swept, he would need every detail. Matter of fact, I wouldn't have even been able to go. I packed the bulk of my belongings and have hidden them in easy-to-grab places. I've got 4 days left in my college course before I take my certification exam. I'm very glad he stayed out all night, because I've never felt this much love for myself since before meeting him. He knocked me down so many pegs that I forgot how much I was actually worth. and was willing taking scraps of love. This isn't even the worst that he's done, and we should have been over a long time ago. Hate that I'm just fully realizing it now, but I'm glad I did it all. It hurts, but not as bad as staying as someone's second choice. He probably won't even remember the conversation as he never does, but I'm done explaining it over and over again. The plan is to stick it out until the end of the week, take my certification exam, pack up all my stuff, and leave in the middle of the night. My sister lives in another city and already has a place for me to stay. Luckily, my mother is in town as well and plans on staying until I'm ready. I'm letting him keep his gifts, because once I'm gone, he won't have internet until he gets it himself. It's getting turned off and moved to where I'm going. I will also be taking his cell phone off my contract. I really didn't understand how much I paid for his life until I started disconnecting and removing everything a piece at a time. I just did it because I love him and wanted him to be taken care of. The time I spent gone last night was everything I needed to get my life together. He knows the best ways to guilt trip me, especially after going to counseling. I'm not going to keep doing this fight, and I'm the only one actually making progress. I have held him up and backed him up on so many things in life. I never expected to get to this point. Thank you to everyone who helped talk things out with me. I was so distraught that I couldn't even think or move. Definitely made it easier to keep pushing on. Everything is packed with my little library and PC setup. I don't even think he noticed when he came back, and I'm sure he'll be asleep all day. Doing a once-over and finishing packing. My mother will be back later to pick up a few things at a time under the premise of just wanting to see her daughter. Mom is with a plan, and I'm loving it. For those of you who believe that we could have worked things out, we could have, but that takes the both of us being willing to do that. Not just me. This isn't even everything, my guys. I know it may feel like an attack on men to you, but if I told you everything, you wouldn't feel that way. Trust me, I want it to work out too. But he has made it very clear that he would drop me if it meant keeping her, even just as a friend. If for any reason she told him they can't be friends because of me, that would be a hot potato. Dropped on the floor, guts everywhere. Joke, but you get the picture. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I feel like I'm finally about to get everything that I've ever wanted and needed, and I hope you do too.
Update. Am I the a-hole for winning a couple of million on the lottery and giving half to my ex before I met my current girlfriend? Original post. So I'm 35 male and was with my ex from school until 5 years ago. We have a child together too that we both co-parent really well. We never fall out and with each other, but the love and attraction has all gone. She cheated on me, but there's more to the story than that, and it's not all on her. 2 years ago, I happened to win around £4 million on the lottery. My first thought was my child. I wanted him to grow up with an equal life like he has mine, and the less stress his parents have, the less stress he has. I decided to split the win with my ex. We have both been sensible with the money. I quit my job as a mechanic, took my sports and football coaching badges, and with a friend, we started a business going around primary schools doing classes in all sorts of sports and fitness, and also helping out local sports clubs and teams with coaching and methods, etc. It will never make us rich, but we make around 1.5 times the national average wage. I bought a £300,000 house and a £40,000 car, and that's about it. My ex opened up a beauty salon that's doing really well and also bought herself a house. I met my current girlfriend on a night out around 6 months ago. Things have been going well. She knows I won the lottery, and that's why I've got a nicer house and car than my income will normally provide, and why I like to go away on a couple of nice holidays a year. She's never asked for anything from me materially and kept insisting on covering half the dates, despite me offering to pay every time. We are getting more serious, but nowhere near moving in or anything like that, or her meeting my son yet. It all came to a head last week when the subject of my ex came up and my girlfriend said how nice her beauty salon is. We were with a couple of my friends, and one of them said, "It should be nice. Sam paid for it." She asked what he was talking about, and before I could answer, my friend said he gave her 2 million quid. My girlfriend was quiet for the rest of the night, and then when we got back to mine, she exploded and said I was still in love with her. And that's why I gave her the money, that I wasn't normal, that no wonder a lottery winner only lives in a house like this and drives a crappy car. When I gave half away, that I was a gullible simp, how embarrassed she is by me, how we could be set for life with that money and never work again, etc., etc. It went on for so long before I told her to leave, as I'm going to bed and not listening to this anymore. I haven't seen her since, and she hadn't answered my calls or replied to my messages, apart from the odd insult. Until today, when she said the only way she could stay with me is to ask my ex for whatever money she has left to be returned to me so she can save face. I told her no, and I'm done with her. She again accused me of trying to buy back my ex, and I blocked her. Is this going to be a problem I have with other women going forward? Am I the a-hole for this? Now for the top comments before reading the update. You did a good thing for the benefit of your child and your child's mother. Well done. Current girlfriend, though, sounds like she was just after your money from the beginning. I agree, but it's surprising as she never asked for anything before. Even when her car broke down and I fixed it, she tried to offer me money for it. She was playing the long game, brother. That's why she erupted in anger, because she realized she made a bad bet that wasn't going to pay off like she was plotting. That's what my friend said. He said she was going to act like this until she had her feet under the table. Laughing out loud. It may be a problem for other women you date going forward, but that's a good weed-out method. Someone who properly loves you will see that you're a good man who took care of the mother of his child and ensured that both of you can have a good life, even though you're no longer together. I think it's a green flag. Thank you so much for putting my mind at ease. I was starting to think I'd done something wrong, but I didn't know what. Some people will say you did too much, but at the time of your win, you and your ex had only been separated for a couple of years. And if you had won it when you were still together, you would have split it 50-50. I imagine it makes a lot of things easier for you as a co-parent knowing that you split the win with her, since she can never really say that you owe her anything for your child, and your child is well provided for. It just felt right, because what's the point in my son having one rich parent and one struggling parent? Now for the update. Just a quick update as I got a lot of nice comments and messages on my original post. She unblocked me and asked for forgiveness, but I said no, it's gone too far. And for me, it's over. She didn't take it very well, and I got bombarded with abusive messages for a day or two, but they've stopped today, as have the phone calls from a withheld number. A few people asked on the last post why I gave my ex half, rather than put it in savings for our kid. Between us, we have nearly $1 million that we have put aside for him that cannot be touched and will earn interest over the years. As for the cheating, which a lot of people mentioned, we were each other's first for everything, and we talked about it and both admitted a few years we felt a touch of regret. We both agreed to threesomes, so over the course of the next year or so, we did it with a few men and a few women. Unfortunately, she ended up catching feelings for one of the men. Not the end of the world and no reason for us to fall out. I can honestly say that you appear to be a good person. Good on you for standing up for yourself and not take that sort of abuse. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. You're a green flag, and in revealing so, you've weeded out a red flag. I'd almost suggest keeping your lotto win quiet for the next girlfriend, but in a way, now you know how to work out quickly if someone's with you for your money. I wish you success with finding love and your sports program. That really sounds cool. Thank you. I love the sports program. Yesterday, a mom came up to me and said how much her son is enjoying it, and he's having a birthday party next weekend, and when she asked who he wanted to invite, the first person he said was Coach Daniel. I'll be honest, it had me tearing up LOL. You're a real man. You know that, right? Like a real good one. Sacrificing half your wealth for the betterment of your child was a real power move in the realm of maturity, in my opinion. I think your kid is going to have a significantly more stable life because of your decision and receive the myriad of mental health benefits that accompany that. Be proud of yourself and screw the gold digger. Someone like that isn't worth a second thought to a man of your caliber. You're making me blush, lol. Thank you. Money is like a good litmus test for dating, to be honest. I had a guy whom I grew up with and knew came from a wealthy family test me on a first date regarding money. I passed but felt too uncomfortable to continue seeing him. He said it worked really well in the past, and I'm sure he needed to do tests like that. But the fact that we'd known each other more than a decade and he tested me was super uncomfortable. But he met someone who passed, and they're doing great from what I understand, so great for them. Have friends that come from money, and their dating game is so annoyingly complicated. They have to sniff out the gold diggers, but also the people who would bring about negative attention to their family's businesses, the people who wouldn't be able to adjust to their lifestyle, etc. It's no wonder many of them just prefer to move to Europe or North America, reinvent themselves as a trust fund babies, and just shack up with someone who has no clue about their generational wealth. Next story. Am I the a-hole for skipping a family party because I didn't want to see my half-sister or her dad who hate me for being an affair baby? I, 17 female, have a half-sister, 19 female. I always knew she had a dad and I didn't, but when we were 5 and 7, she started telling me she wished I had never been born and she hated me. And her dad hated me because I was an affair baby. Our mom thought we were close, and she hoped being close in age meant that stuff would never be an issue. But my half-sister heard about it from her dad when it was his parenting time. He told her to make sure I never used anything he bought for her. She told me about that. She said anything that her dad bought her was for her, and her dad would puke if I used them. Whenever mom or someone else in our family called us sisters, she'd get mad at me and say I wasn't her sister, and she'd yell at me when no adults were around. I ended up telling our mom what was happening when I was 7. And even then, I felt conflicted because I hoped she'd like me and knew she'd hate me more for telling. Mom tried to do stuff we'd both like, and she would praise whenever we could sit and get along, even though my half-sister was just waiting until mom wasn't around to be mean. When she got a little older, she started doing a bunch more activities, and there were more chances for me to see her dad when mom would take me along to support my half-sister. He was rude or gross to me. There was a time he told me not to look at him because I wasn't his kid, and he called my mom a whore and said that's what I was destined to be too. There were so many incidents with him, and my mom knew about those, and she'd get to fights with him. That made my half-sister angry, and it kind of built until she was 13, and told mom that she didn't care that her dad was awful to me, and I was a gross affair baby, and neither of them should need to be around me. My half-sister chose to live with her dad when she turned 16, and she didn't come to mom's at all. My mom tried to fight for custody and intensive therapy, but lost because of how old my sister was. I saw my half-sister at school, and she took every chance to be mean and nasty to me. Our extended family knew about everything, but because mom cheated, they had kept in touch with my half-sister's dad and always included him in stuff, but he'd decline. Now he's accepting stuff, and I saw them twice in the last year. So when another family party came up yesterday, I chose not to go. My mom and family tried to make me go, but I said I didn't want to be around my half-sister or her dad. They told me it was the wrong decision and I shouldn't let them keep me from my family. But I don't want to be subjected to their hate for me anymore. I'll never have a sister. He'll never just ignore me, which would be way easier. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Tell your mom flat out that being forced to hang out with your sister is cruel, and she needs to stop punishing you for adult mistakes. Not the a-hole. She's forcing you to endure abuse to soothe her guilt, not your problem. She's putting her comfort over OP's safety, and that's not OP's burden to fix. Not the a-hole. Your mom and her dad are the a-holes. Your mom for cheating and creating this situation, as well as not protecting you, and her dad for treating an innocent child this way, and for brainwashing his daughter into believing you're the enemy. I feel bad for you and your sister. What could have been a healthy and supportive relationship was destroyed by these two terrible human beings. Don't go to these get-together if they're going to be there. Protect your peace. Protect your peace and skip the family gatherings. Who needs that kind of chaos when you could be binge-watching something way more entertaining? Did your mom ever told you what happened to your real father? She let me contact him. He doesn't want anything to do with me and considers me a mistake he made. Just curious, did they do DNA testing to be sure who is your father? If not, I'll do that at least to be sure who it is. Not only monetary, but for medical reasons as well. Of course, not the a-hole. Yes, he's on my birth certificate and everything as a result, and I read the official papers that said as much. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my cousin have my old car, even though my aunt says I owe the family for being successful? I, 26 male, work in tech and recently bought my first new car. It's nothing crazy, just a reliable sedan. My old car, a 2009 Civic, still runs, but has a ton of miles on it. I plan to sell it cheap or trade it in. So my aunt, who's my mom's sister, heard about the new car through our family group chat. She texted me saying her son, 19 male, could really use a starter car and asked when I could drop it off. There was no question about buying it. It was just straight up asking when I could give it to them. I told her I wasn't planning to just give it away, but I'd sell it at a reasonable price. It's not worth much, but I've taken good care of it, and it's mine. She immediately got snippy and said I make enough money now. She insisted it wouldn't kill me to do something nice for my cousin. Honestly, she's always had this weird resentment toward me for getting out of our small town and doing well. Her tone turned passive-aggressive really fast. She said things like, "Some of us didn't get handed life on a silver platter, even though I worked full-time through college and took out loans." Now she's telling the rest of the family I'm selfish and that I've forgotten where I came from. Even my mom gently suggested I should consider giving them the car just to avoid drama. But I don't think I owe anyone a free car just because I make a decent income now. I offered to sell it fairly, they refused, and I left it at that. So, am I the a-hole? Trust me, you should sell it to someone else. Save yourself the headache. With that kind of entitlement, any little thing that happens with the car in the future is going to come back to haunt you. Well, OP, you shouldn't have sold it if the tires need changing, so you should pay for brand new ones now. So what if my darling precious has had it for 2 years and put 78,000 miles on it since we got it? And the worst part is, if the car ever breaks down, they'd go crying to the whole family again about how I screwed them over with a junk car. Lose-lose situation. That's exactly what will happen. Instead, you send a message about how it really sucks that it broke down the other day and the mechanic said the whole transmission is shot. A new one would be worth more than a car, plus all the other issues they found. But hey, you were able to junkyard scrap it for $300, so you were at least able to cover the tow. Guess you were lucky to get your new car when you did, and that you didn't give that piece of junk to your cousin. Those are exactly the type of people you should never give anything to, no matter how small. The fact that they are family and feel entitled to the fruits of your hard work already will slowly get worse and worse, with more expectations, as soon as they realize the guilt trip works. Wouldn't kill you to do something nice for a 19-year-old kid who hasn't done anything yet to deserve it? Just respond, "You're his mom." Wouldn't kill you to work a few more jobs like I did and buy it for him, and wouldn't have killed you to use birth control if you didn't want to pay yourself for whatever you wanted to give to your kid. And on a practical note, if they can't afford the price of a 2009 Civic, they definitely can't afford to do whatever repairs it will probably need in the next few years. And they'll lean on you for that, or blame you for giving them a crappy car. Your mom is way out of line. You need to tell her that she raised someone who learned that you don't get stuff unless you work hard and earn it. If she cares about her nephew, she should have the same attitude for him. You're 26, so already a full, well-established adult. You no longer need to take disrespect from your aunt just because your grandfather and grandmother chose to have 2 kids. As an adult, everyone, including family, needs to earn your respect every day. Oh, if they say they'll buy it and pay you slowly for it, don't do it. They won't. And they'll use it for 6 months. And then when it needs a repair that they can't afford, they'll just stop payments and blame it on the old car you sold them.